Good afternoon and welcome to a special Island Stat Sports Talk. I'm your host, Earl Basden, and joining me is the National Women's Head Coach, Nikita Robinson. The squad, has been selected for the final game of this round against Grenada come Saturday evening, 7 o'clock at the Philadelphia Southfield Stadium at the National Sports Center. But looking at the team, it's a mixture of, is that noise? Is that a TV in the background?
No. Let me kick them out, guys. He can hear you, so you're gonna have to talk outside for a second. I'm in an interview. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries. Looking at the squad, it's a mixture of experience, youth. Picking this particular team, what give us an idea of what went into this particular team for this game.
Yeah, so we don't have too many changes. Players that's unavailable for this window. Obviously, Jaden retiring, and then Nia Christopher just sealing her contract over in Iceland. It's a game that we can advance, right? It's a final match. I wanted to pick, some younger players, got some people in that's just starting within our program, so that they got a feel of what it is that we do and how we operate. And so that's what went into selecting this team to play against Grenada. It was more of a this is the final match, but it could be the beginning of what's next, right? Mm-hmm. So most of these guys have every last person that's in this team now have at some point traveled with us. You'll see Soleil Dillard. She actually came to the training camp before we traveled over to Cayman. She didn't have a passport, so we were waiting on the passport. But yeah, so I've been on this train for a long time, and now it's just at the moment, this is our final match for a little while. Just wanted to see some younger players in the mix, but also having the seniority there to help guide them.
Yeah, we see a whole host of local-based players, which is a good sign because other local-based players were probably thinking, "Oh, I can't make the squad," because we have an abundance of experienced players playing off the island. But when you look at this squad, as you said, there's not many changes, but the locals do stand out this time around, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, depending on local, some are local because they're taking a break from school or they're doing online school, but they still are players that are overseas. So the younger players, yes, will be the local based players. Brought in another goalkeeper who was originally in the squad, but then had work commitments that didn't allow her to be part of the Costa Rica team. But since which has had the opportunity to train more to be with us. Then we have Akila, who was in the goalkeeping position, who's now probably our third string goalkeeper. Take less players, you have less goalkeepers, so can utilize her on the pitch. So yeah, and in that aspect, it's good to have the local based players able to be a part of the squad. But we had a overseas player who has exams, who would have been in, but has an exam on Thursday, wouldn't be able to travel until Friday. So it wasn't feasible, didn't make sense. We can have another player on island, who's been here training with us. So yeah, I mean it's always an opportunity to make the team, but some things have to change so that we can make sure that we have the best players available, for each time.
Right. I noted that in the way that the squad was announced, we have just 3 forwards, but clearly there's a lot of people in the midfield I see that can actually adapt and move up front. But the idea of having 3 forwards, Um, is that something new, or what's the thought behind that?
Oh, who they listed as forwards?
Janai
Kenny,
and
Kenny,
Mira.
Janai, Samira,
Kenny.
and Kenny. Yeah, and I
Mhm.
mean, so as forwards, you're talking about number 9. So are those 3 interchangeable? Not necessarily a 7 and 11s, right?
Right.
So there's nothing in it's nothing in that they're just who's in the team as possible number 9s.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it's not Kenny, Samira, Janai going to be playing close to forward line. You know what I mean? They are
Right.
just
Right.
possible number 9s in this team.
Right. Yeah. Um, well, obviously, we talk about people that are missing, but well, it's good to see Kashayla back. Um, she was out through injury for quite some time, but now looks like she's settled back into playing for Sutton United. So good to have her back available.
Oh, absolutely. And she had a pretty good session last night. And the UK players come back. We always are wary of travel and what's going to happen. Our session was pretty intense last night, but yeah, she looked good. Kashayla is definitely a good utility player, a good player to have in and around in that midfield. She's good on the ball, also good at creating space, also good defensively. Yeah, so I was happy for her. It was really tough in the first part of the window because her injury she picked up just before we went to the Cayman Islands in the UK in their cup match, and so she never really recovered from it until now. So it's nice to have her back in the fold for this match.
Mm. Explain a bit of the background of Sarah Dillard. You did mention her not
Okay.
having a passport, but give us some sense of how where she's coming from.
Yeah, so Soleil Dillard, her mom actually is Bermudian, but she's lived overseas her whole life. I have been following her from when she was younger. So she was young, she was playing both basketball and football. And then I kept following, kept reaching out to the mom. The mom kept saying, "Yeah, we're gonna get this done, get that done." She had her high school senior year, she had a very good season. Her first year in college, unfortunately, got an ACL tear. So that's what has kept her out. She's now, I believe, a sophomore
Right.
or possibly a junior. I'd have to ask in college, and she came with us to, as I said, she came with us to Florida. So it was the first time seeing her live. And then she came to Bermuda in December, and we got to watch her a little bit more in December. And yeah, it wasn't bad. She's a solid midfield player, very good at winning the ball, and looks to play. But yeah, it was just somebody that kind of fell into our lap and somebody that I was able to follow for the last few years leading up to now. So hopefully we can get an opportunity to see her in there.
Oh, okay. All right. I have to note that somebody who I think retired from the national program, she even retired from football, but is now back playing and scoring tons of goals for Bradford City, Aaliyah Nerlin. Any possibilities of seeing her? Has she expressed any interest to come back into the squad?
I offered it. I offered the opportunity, and she didn't accept it immediately. So it again, we have to allow people to make their own decisions as adults. And yeah, she's playing at the tier 6 level, and she is scoring goals at this moment. But it was offered, and she didn't accept it immediately.
Right.
And so we move on. So that's pretty much all I'll speak on that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I just thought to ask because she's continuously putting in goals. Where even somebody like Kiana Dill, who is playing for FC United of Manchester, she's been scoring regularly in this side of the year in football. And she it's an opportunity for her to go forward as well because she's not as a defender, but the opportunity is there.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, without letting out too much of what it is we're trying to do or looking to do, we understand the versatility within Kiana. And we
mhm,
spoke with her today about that. You know, Kiana's a player that could play all three lines.
right.
So she becomes a utility player where utility player from the bench or utility player from the start. So, yeah, we know we have the firepower within our squad, and it's actually a good space to be in with this squad because we definitely can start a very good 15, very
Hmm.
good 15 players that can start at any. So it's a good space to be in.
Yeah. You get an opportunity later this evening to watch Grenada play. Um, what could people expect from this team, knowing that this is the last game in this round come Saturday? What they want to be able to produce for a local crowd.
Yeah, we're gonna play hard and fast. We're going to win the match. Like we're not the Grenada who have to adjust to us. We're not adjusting to Grenada. Yes, we're looking at some of their tactics, some of the things they did against. I mean, Costa Rica is really the only game we can watch.
Hmm.
Um, they play Cayman tonight. Cayman is a wounded animal at this time, coming
21.
up a 21-nil loss. So we know that Grenada will come in knowing that our last match we played Costa Rica and lost 8-0. They only lost 2-1.
Hmm.
There's a lot of little pieces as to why that was the result um, for them in Costa Rica. So
Hmm.
they're going to come looking to press us and looking to play. And so are we. So we're going to play football and to win the match. That's the plan.
Mm.
We play. The good thing for us is we played Costa Rica last.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah. Um, we had a conversation some time ago when the announcement was made about women coaches in national programs set up and so forth. Um, I did listen to a few English women coaches or players. They had a sit down and they were expressing the fact that they think it's being rushed because to just for somebody to be given a position that they haven't earned is something that they feel will set football back as opposed to somebody earning the right to be a coach or an assistant coach and stuff like that. But for us here in Bermuda, it's unique. What given this opportunity to let that sink in, what's your thoughts on it, and where do you stand? How do you stand? And have you had a conversation with the association about how we progress that part of football in the national program?
yeah,
Stop smiling. Stop
I
smiling.
agree as well that
Hmm.
it's something that is. I think it needed to be something that happened progressively.
Hmm.
Um, I can't, you're going to have teams that have female coaches who, like you said, haven't earned the right to be there, but they're going to be on the staff. What value are they going to add? I just believe that the best coaches should be in position to do the job, male or female. You have a female who's just going over to coach in a male dominant league
Yes.
and coach males that are very good players, right?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think it's fair to say she has to have a male on her staff. So at the end of the day, I think that there's other ways that we can encourage females to want to coach. There's other
Hmm.
incentives because right now that's not an incentive. That's oh yes, I'm going to get to coach. I'm going to get to be a part, but I don't have to really do anything because
Hmm.
what happens if there's countries that don't have females that can coach? Are they not going to be allowed to participate? Like, have we thought this through, or is this just one of these? We're going to throw this out there and going to make it mandatory. And I understand the individual who has made it mandatory is actually a
Right.
female and was a very good national coach, but we still have to be mindful of what's best for the clients, and the clients are the players.
Right. Right. It's got to be a progression. It can't just be.
Correct.
But
Correct.
yeah. They're throwing it in for September, and I think if they would have said give it 2 years,
Correct.
for somebody to work towards it. I just think
Yeah.
that's about a suit. But
Yeah.
personally, for you said you've been on this journey for quite some time. What are your immediate plans? Do you step back for a minute, reflect, and then get back into this national program, or what's your immediate plans?
Yeah, 100%. What I do know is that I see where there are some gaps in the developmental or the technical side of the program, and I really want to, we have a little break. There's a pretty big lull for the women after Saturday, but I want us to look at what's happening in the future and look to develop the next generation. There's under 17s that just finished. That's a good team. We can look at that 19-0, but we can't compare apples and bananas. But we can look and say, hey, what can we do to start closing the gap? And I think for me, I may be in that space right now of more of the technical development side of players. So I get a bit of a break to do so. To start, and I have started. I've done the research. I started to put together certain things, but the National Academy coaches, especially on the female side, we must all come together and decide what does our growth look like. What is it that we want over the next 2 years, and we have to have a plan, right, for that. So that's what my immediate future after Saturday looks like. Is the what's next at the base of the pyramid again. Yeah. Not forgetting the top of the pyramid, because the top of the pyramid's in a good space. But what's feeding into the top of the pyramid, and can we make sure that we continue to develop players, not just be coaching to win in school games or weekend matches, but how are we developing the young girls to compete at these higher levels?
Yeah. I remember there were times back when we had under 15s playing and you were coaching them, and then they would play a bunch of games, and then there was a long gap before they played again, and you had to physically and mentally keep them focused on whenever there's going to be a call of duty to be ready to play again. It sounds like this is happening. This is going to happen with the senior women. How do we then convince them to continue on a journey that you possibly can't see when the next time you'll be together?
Yeah, well, the association's doing some things to hopefully get international friendlies. We're not the only ones that's going to be off for a while. There are other teams out there that we can play. And college teams, these girls are always going to be rearing and ready to go. They're always going to be. They're not going to stop. They're going to take their vacation, but they're going to be back in the gym. Some of them are already training with men's teams. I know that season's over as well, but summertime, they have the women's league in the summer, looking at doing things like that to keep them motivated. And again, the team is young, right? So you got some under 20s in the team as well. Hopefully they should be getting ready to compete soon. But I think it's just me staying a bit connected with them. And those that's overseas, obviously they will go right back into playing overseas. But I'm always got MSA's gym, and I can always have a little pickup game at any time. But I'll definitely talk to them about what it looks like, what that looks like after Saturday, and get their feedback and accommodate them as best I can.
Yeah. Well, because we also have those FIFA windows for women, just like they have them for men, in the coming months and even a year. So yeah. Let me apologize for last night. Getting your assistant coach in trouble.
Yeah. In the middle of my session. I looked around and see him
in the middle of your session.
playing 11v11 and it's going missing. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You know,
Yeah. He
he's
went
still
behind the
he's still
bushes to
in the
talk
moment. You
football.
know, he has to have his moment too, right?
Yes, yes.
I'm not selfish. Yeah, I'm proud of him. You know, happy for that.
Sure, sure. But what did he bring the first time around that you're looking forward to utilizing this time around for this game?
So obviously, first time coming in, just meeting the players. Now this time around, they already know who he is, right?
Hmm.
So his energy, his expertise, and just a different voice. Yeah.
Hmm.
Speaking the same language, but just hearing it from a different voice, and just reassuring the girls that they're fine. That you know he's let them know this is you're doing well. Here's some other options. You know, so
Hmm.
it's a lot of people. I won't say a lot of people, but there are people that thought I brought him in for the history or brought him in for other reasons other than the expertise. You know, I brought him in as a coach, not as a brother. You know, he
Right.
just happens to be my brother. So, you know, again, as Bermudians, we tend to focus on the wrong things. Like it wasn't the hype that
Hmm.
he's my brother. It was the hype that he's a coach
Hmm.
who's going to bring something else to the table. So, you know, it was helpful. You know, Carl was helping with the under 17s. They were very much still in tournament mode and preparing to go and face arguably their toughest matches.
Yes.
Um, and so this time around is a little bit more relaxed. You know, I got him and Carl. Also, Jake has come along for this next window. So, you know, I'm actually in a good space. I'm just pretty much managing, making sure everybody's happy and calling all these shots. But at the end of the day, we have to always remember that it's not about us coaches. It's
Hmm.
always going to be about the clients, which are the players. And once we have that understanding, I think everything will be fine.
Okay. So you're feeling good about Saturday.
Oh yeah,
And
I'm actually
you,
quite relaxed. I'm gonna enjoy sitting down. I can him and Carl can stand up and shout at the players for 90 minutes. I'm just gonna sit there and drink some Powerades and enjoy watching football and be like watching it on TV.
I'll have you stop watching to see how long you sit down.
Yeah, no, like I enjoyed like yesterday. I was just there. You know, I got to watch the coaches out there and giving
Hmm.
instruction, and I was just, you know, over there sitting off talking to Zakari, or I was up talking to Maurice. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, Saturday I'm looking forward to, you know, to being a good match and for us to end it on a high.
Okay. I know you have training coming up soon.
Yeah,
Want
yeah.
to wish you all the best, you
Thank you,
and the team.
thank you very much.
Again, Bermuda, and definitely support all the way. Giving you girls everything that you need. Hopefully, you get the reward come Saturday night. Not just for the country, but for yourselves. You
Mhm.
guys have worked hard over the years, and it's time to reward yourselves. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
Okay. Enjoy the rest. Okay.
You as well. Bye bye.
All right.